You know, I'll be right back. Not back. I'm back. Is what I'm trying to say. God damn it. We gonna do that shit. We're gonna do. We're gonna do this shit right if they let us. The graphics got better. It's a graphic, I guess, overhaul is what Waddles was calling it. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go find a home. Just get the simple structures or one of those add-ons that give me a little home to hide out in with the bed. Pretty sad. Well, you can always play this without the add-on, so. I had this vision, true story. I was doing some like work for some undercover like some FBI agents, and I had stacks of money. Like $100,000, I guess. It's more than that, but we had these. Me and this person grabbed some binoculars. I grabbed the big ones, the cool ones, and I looked in, and then I tried the other ones, and they tried the ones I had. And I was zooming in, looking for, it was nighttime at the top of the building, and there was nobody there. It was just weird. And I was like in this, I don't know if it was a cargo jet or something. There was this guy who was looking at me. He was like a character, but he was like I don't know if he was a frog or a cat. It was weird. I had some weird dreams. I mean, fucking weird dreams. I've never touched drugs at all, and I have those weird dreams. Like, what the fuck is wrong with my brain? Yeah, I noticed the graphics seem to be a bit better. You know what? Hold on a second. Oh, hold on. Dying Light the Beast is out, but I can't play it because they decided to work on the newer fucking updated, the newer console versions. And I don't have it on my Series S because no point in me buying it again. And I got it for free. So I just have to wait. No, you dumb shit. I didn't know you could put bread in there, you fucker. Star Wars music pops in my head from time to time. I love that shit. I'm glad they made it to where you could turn that off. Crawford planting. So like I said, a little outpost we can call home. Okay, so Make a signpost. No, you fucking idiot. This is our forever world. What? Oh, settings is over there. That's not too bad of a layout. Oh, 2862. Yeah, it was. Okay. I tried this on the other profile and I was like, oh shoot. No wonder it didn't work. No, you fucking idiot. Ugh. And we got the torches. Got the green torches. Okay, we need this, this. Oh fuck, I had an extra one too. Mm. Don't you dare tell me. Okay. Um. Gather. 128. 128. Cobblestone. And smooth stone. Mm. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, are we really? Oh, I can say, man. We need 8 of them. cobblestone, smooth stone. Okay, so what we have, 128. You motherfucker, get over there, God. Come on! Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Everlasting love, open up your eyes and your I love that song. Maybe we should do a freaking crafting table raw. Hell, mate. My mine shaft. Yeah, those fuckers annoy me. I want to punch their nose. Ew, you nasty niggers. I'm gonna cut that fucking villager's goddamn throat. Mm. Mm. Okay, maybe you didn't give it. I don't know. Ooh, we got 16 ladders. Silk touch. Woohoo!
Huh? Huh? Uh-huh.
Mm. Three, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, you dumb bitch. Oh, I'm gonna kill you. God damn you. I'm gonna fucking beat you, Mojang, you dumb niggers. Oh, what a bunch of cocks.
Huh? Huh.
Miss Charlie so much.
Huh.
Oh, you little bite. That was crazy. And went straight to that. That's cool. Automatic eater. Oh no, you motherfuckers did not. No, we are not doing that shit. We are not doing that shit. No, niggers. No, niggers. I hate these niggers. Someone needs to slit their goddamn fucking throats. No, niggers. We'll start this cunt all over again, nigger. Nope, you niggers aren't doing that shit. Goddamn you. No, nigger. I'm gonna slit your fucking throats, Mojang. Now go right into your offices and cut your goddamn throats. No, nigger. I'm gonna kill. I'm going to kill. I'm going to kill. Goddamn nigger. No, nigger. 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 stupid nigger. Goddamn you nigger. You know what? Goddamn you all. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to some Star Wars while I play. You guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Uh-huh.
Yelling back. Fuck. I'm gonna have some goldfish, but what? That's because they don't know. These Christians don't know their head from their ass. Too prideful to admit it.
My people are suffering because of the hatred that is parroted through the mouths of people like Charlie Kirk.
If the Bible is preaching love and acceptance, why are we not loving and accepting everybody for who they are?
God put the tree in the garden to give us free will. But if you go before that, why would he make us knowing what we would become and knowing the evil that the earth would become?
Why didn't God create an in-between of eternal life and eternal death?
Last week, Dr. Frank Turk was literally in the back of the car with Charlie Kirk on the way to the hospital, giving him CPR as he was bleeding out. This week, he is somehow back on the college campus answering questions from students. These conversations are at the center of the spiritual battle. We don't have political problems in America. We have political symptoms of spiritual problems. This Q&A will make that very clear. Let's dive in.
You guys are idiots.
Our nation in mourning after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Supporters have been paying their respects outside of Turning Point USA's headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona. Charlie Kirk will be memorialized with a funeral service on Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. In a powerful tribute, Utah Valley University draped a massive American flag over the area where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Students there returned to classes yesterday. Some say they are very shaken.
I think even just being on campus is hard for everybody. It's a super emotional moment.
Somewhere that we go to further our lives, and it should be also the place where it ends our lives.
He celebrated all the things I support: family, God, love. He never went a day of in his life never preaching about how much he loved those. I think it was important that he really, spoke to the youth because they're our upcoming generation.
I don't think UV is ever going to be the same.
Yeah.
You saw
For
Tuesday
damn sure.
and Wednesday. We're checking in on the nation and on that campus on a regular basis with our love, our thoughts, and we want to hear theirs, what they're going through. Moments ago, President Trump honored Charlie Kirk's legacy while speaking from the UK.
Charlie Kirk was heinously assassinated for speaking his mind. He was a great young man, incredible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president. And he just wanted to take care of youth. He loved youth. I've never seen anybody relate to youth like Charlie, and they related to him. They're devastated.
And as we take a moment as a nation to bow our heads and think better thoughts about the future, if we can, the left is making that very hard to do by pushing false narratives, like the one about Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin. ABC has suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late night show live indefinitely over remarks he made surrounding all of this that we've been through. Kimmel is reportedly furious over the decision and looking for ways to get out of his contract. Here is exactly what he said in his opening monologue on Monday.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang really trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
President Trump posted, "Great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse. William.
Well, here's two things here. What Kimmel said, and secondly, why stations want him off the air. But then there's another layer. There's a $6 billion sale of some TV stations that some feel ABC caved to government pressure to get the deal done. But let's start with Kimmel. Seen here after ABC suspended his show for comments about Kirk Kirk's killer and this joke from Trump.
This is not how an adult somebody called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Well, many found that offensive. Also, Tyler Robinson's mother says he's politically left, pro-gay and pro-trans rights. Kimmel is wrong.
To see that American broadcasters are standing up to serve the interests of their community. We don't just have this progressive foie gras in New York and Hollywood.
So that prompted this from the ACLU and Democrats. Jimmy Kimmel is the latest target of the Trump administration's plan to silence critics and control what American people read and watch.
That's starting to look suspicious too.
Despicable, disgusting, and against democratic values.
America is a less free place if late-night comedians cannot do and say what they want.
We should not be going after people for this. Look.
Democratic values.
America is a less free place if late-night comedians cannot do and say what they want.
We should not be going after people for this. Look, did he get some things wrong? Yeah. I mean, but he's not a commentator, an anchor. This is somebody who's a comedian.
Well, many feel he is a social commentator, but Kimmel may can say what he wants, but ABC can also hold him responsible for it.
We still have free speech, but if you're putting a television show on broadcasting to millions of people nationwide and you're telling lies, sure, you can do that. That's free speech, but there are consequences to it.
And here's the backstory, Harris. The red dots you see are ABC-owned affiliates by Sinclair Broadcasting. The yellow dots represent some of the 32 ABC stations owned by Nexstar, which is trying to buy 64 more stations in a $6 billion deal. That must be approved by the FCC. So, many feel that Kimmel is being pulled off the air until ABC can get that deal done, or at least on Nexstar's behalf, help them get this deal done. They suspended Kimmel only until that deal goes through, and he makes an apology, then comes back on air. But I will say, ABC is losing some money. He makes about $6 million a month for the network, so it's not chunky having him off the air.
He also makes a lot of money. I mean, think about it. And his ratings are low. I mean, they pay him anyway. William, he does have at least one other show on that network. Any word on that?
What show's that?
He's got like a game show on as well. No. Okay.
I hate to say I go to sleep.
And that says it all. Okay, William Lodgen, that's great reporting. Thank you.
That's stupid.
That says it all about the ratings. In focus now, Ben Shapiro, podcast host. Great to see you today. First of all, you're in the media. You're seeing this blow up, as we all did, in social media over the last 24 hours, especially last night. Your first reaction?
My first reaction is I'm sort of surprised that it took 10 years for the public to sound off on how much Jimmy Kimmel sucks. I mean, the reality is that he's been awful at his job.
That's a godly attitude.
His ratings have been terrible. He has become not a comedian, but as Guy Benson over there has said, the hope of late-night comedy. And so affiliates are looking at Jimmy Kimmel at this point and saying, you know what, we don't wish to be associated with Jimmy Kimmel's program. That is perfectly well within the ambit of what affiliates very often do when they don't like the programming or they don't like the things that particular hosts are saying. Sinclair has made very clear their feelings about Jimmy Kimmel. They say they're going to replace his show on the air this Friday with an hour-long tribute to all of our friend Charlie Kirk, which I think is exactly the right move. I would not be shocked at all if that tribute received significantly higher ratings than Jimmy Kimmel's show did in that slot.
Well, back in 2017, there was somebody who already felt like Jimmy Kimmel didn't have great humor. In fact, he tweeted about it. Charlie Kirk. Look at this. Charlie Kirk said then, October 5th, 2017, Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. Ben.
Well, I mean, Charlie was right about a lot of things. That is just another thing that Charlie was right about. And again, I think that the question is to whether Kimmel is
Help to the youth because they're upcoming generation.
I don't think
The fuck
TV is ever going to be the same.
You saw Tuesday.
awful at his job for full on a decade. His ratings have been terrible. He has become not a comedian, but as Guy Benson over there has said, the hope of late-night comedy. And so affiliates looking at Jimmy Kimmel at this point and saying, you know what, we don't wish to be associated with Jimmy Kimmel's program. That is perfectly well within the ambit of what affiliates very often do when they don't like the programming or they don't like the things that particular hosts are saying. Sinclair has made very clear their feelings about Jimmy Kimmel. They say they're going to replace his show on the air this Friday with an hour-long tribute to all of our friend Charlie Kirk, which I think is exactly the right move. I would not be shocked at all if that tribute received significantly higher ratings than Jimmy Kimmel's show did in that slot.
Well, back in 2017, there was somebody who already felt like Jimmy Kimmel didn't have great humor. In fact, he tweeted about it. Charlie Kirk. Look at this. Charlie Kirk said then, October 5th, 2017, Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. Then.
Well, I mean, Charlie was right about a lot of things. That is just another thing that Charlie was right about. And again, I think that the question as to whether Kimmel is losing his position, whether he ever comes back due to public pressure or whether it's due to the Trump administration is an interesting question. But there's no question that the general public was not buying what Jimmy Kimmel was selling, and that was evident from the ratings. And if affiliates again say, you know what, we don't wish to put this on our stations, well, nobody has a right to a late night show on ABC or its affiliates.
Well, Kimmel was far from the only person in the legacy media pushing the false narrative that the suspect was MAGA and motivated by far-right ideology. Watch this.
The shooter was right-wing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not really hard to figure out. In fact, he was very, very right-wing.
He had at least some association or affinity or fascination or interest in this Groyper group, which would lead you to believe that he's actually not a leftist.
There was an incredible amount of angry discourse from the right, blaming the Democrats, blaming liberals, saying you're the reason this happened. Only to find out 22-year-old white dude, love guns, didn't check it in the boxes y'all thought he could check, did he?
I mean, at least they are showing us who they are.
It was very clear early on exactly what was going on here. I mean, the early accounts from media outlets, including places like The Guardian and Tablet Magazine, were reporting that friends and family of the shooter said that he turned very hard to the left. We knew very early on what was etched on those bullets, which included not only gamer language, but a language that was associated with apparently trans issues. And of course, it was pretty clear very early on, as early as Saturday actually, that this person was a gay man who was in a relationship with another man who believed he was a woman, and they were both into a phenomenon that can only be described as furriness. And so the idea that this was in any way a right-wing shooter was debunked extraordinarily early on, and yet that line continued to be retailed. Now we see a sort of backup line, which is, well, actually it was just a personal psychological issue. It had to do with his relationships. We've seen the line that actually was apolitical. It had nothing to do with politics at all. All of that is absolute sheer nonsense. He says in those text messages with his gay lover that Charlie Kirk was hateful, and the reason he thought Charlie Kirk was hateful is because of Charlie's views specifically on the gay and trans issues.
And, you know, I'm thinking about some of the comments from Montel Williams and
Oh,
others
Montel.
who have...
I love Montel. I'm glad he made a comeback, like,
broken heart,
speaking.
basically. It was some sort of a love situation, and he was brokenhearted. Look, I do want to talk about this just big picture for a second, because I have said this before. I think more speech is always better, not into killing speech. But we're in a moment right now, you know, you want to talk about the FCC. We're not handled by them. We don't have a license from them. Broadcast stations do. And what's appropriate, what isn't. I'm all for more free speech, but it comes with responsibility. And we used to have that in this country. And it seems to have gone away. Your thought?
Again, social consequences for bad speech, that is a normal part of American life. I think the question over the past 20 years is whether it's been too broadly applied to mainstream views, like Charlie's views. You know, Charlie would say a man is not a woman, and then you'd have social consequences for saying something perfectly normal. You say something off the wall, no social consequences. Well, social consequences or market consequences for saying stupid stuff on your late night TV show on ABC, those are market consequences, social consequences. Now the question of government involvement, again, raises some other issues.
Ben Shapiro, always great to have you in focus. Thank you very much.
I'm Stu Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Hold on, I gotta see if that's his name. Kilmeade. Oh. It's not your fucking land, you fucking evil bastards.
contributing to something that is historic and something that is a living memorial of what God has done. It was 4,000 years ago here in this city on Mount Moriah where God chose his people. He not only chose a people, but he chose a
friends of Charlie Kirk and former Turning Point team members with tonight's welcoming room.
They weren't driven by a desire for celebrity. They weren't driven by a desire for fame.
That alone would be incredible, to be that fertilizer and that water that will help spread this light that is inspired by God's love.
Where's this casket? It just shows the people, huh?
Expression of grief that no one who witnessed it could forget. In that gesture, Erica's tribute began. A tribute that would soon leave a lasting impression on the nation. The heart-stopping moment with Charlie's hand. The most haunting moment of the funeral came when Erica leaned over the open casket and reached for her husband's hand.
That's so
Cameras
sad.
caught it, and within hours the images were everywhere. But in the room, it was more than a picture. It was a raw act of love and loss that left the audience in stunned silence. She clasped Charlie's hand gently at first, then more firmly, as if unwilling to let go. Her tears fell freely, her head resting close against him.
Yeah.
But the response stretched far.
Erica Kirk posts Charlie Kirk's dead body moments after addressing the nation for the first time and sends the internet into a frenzy and gets immediate backlash. Take a look. I love you. God bless you. He is kissing his hand, laying against his casket, taking Charlie Kirk's body in his casket and loading it into the hearse. She did use this family photo as the first picture in her carousel, but still people are bothered. Sound off below. Let Erica Kirk post Charlie Kirk.
There's no excuse. I'ma keep saying that.
I'm afraid those are.
Yeah, we have Kunai Mama.
Come on. God damn it. You fucking idiots. The amount of cheaters on that fucking site is just horrendous.
Yeah, we have Kunai Mamad Zara from Team Polgar. I think she's yeah, pretty.
How to play Third Millennium Chess. Set up white on the lighter king line with pawns on both sides and black on the opposite side of the cylinder. You may only rotate the cylinder on your turn. Pawns move away from their own king line and promote when reaching their opponent's king line. All other pieces move in either direction. Knights can split and move independently, come back together, and move together. For the entire rules, check out this video.
Yeah, we have Kunai Mamad Zara from Team Polgar. I think she's yeah, pretty decent IM from Azerbaijan, and I think the first sport of Azerbaijan's women's team, and I think she is still a junior or close to it, and as far as I know, a pretty aggressive player. Let's play an old Badger Blitz game. don't pay too much attention to the ratings in general. A lot of don't avian. And yeah, Banter Blitz favorite of mine, the old Scandinavian. And yeah, don't pay too much attention to the ratings in general. A lot of them are provisional and they don't make any sense. Yeah, H3 I guess is a reasonable move. I've seen some people play that. Guess I should go Bishop F5 to develop. And Knight D7. And I'm not sure I like castling kingside there. It feels a little bit too soft. So now I get easy development and then yeah, she's probably slightly better, but I have what I wanted from the opening, which is a very solid and playable position. Guess I'll go rook e8 and then rook d8 later on maybe. But in general, she has a slight great advantage, but I don't think she can use it for much. Meanwhile, my position is very solid. Bishop f4, I can go queen b4, so I'm not really worried about my queen here. I also don't really think any knight f7 and g4 is gonna work. Obviously I could be eating my words later. Always have to prepare for that possibility. I think I'll trade for now. Don't love the bishop on d5, but I think it's safe. Makes mare for the king. Maybe rook d7 next move to make room for the queen on d8, like a little bit down here. Then bishop d6, challenging the bishop. Seems reasonable. Also potentially rook d8. And again, I don't have any tactics here with bishop e6. So I think she's maybe there are some tactics here like queen d8, d5, and knight d5, knight d5, d5, bishop a4, with winning the exchange. So even in apparently very dry positions, there are sometimes tactics. Now I will go bishop g6, and I think that's in general not undecided. There are ideas of bishop h5 potentially forcing g4. Obviously now that she's gone rook d2, that's not an issue anymore. Okay, let's go queen d8 with the plan. Bishop d6. If bishop f6, I'm pretty happy to trade and play an ending. Guess. Oh, this is a tricky move order. Thing is, I would love to go bishop d3 and then take an e5. But bishop e5, d5, bishop d3, I guess ef6 is an issue. If bishop d3, she can take on f6 and force an equal ending. Okay, so she did play this well. Okay, she took immediately, so I could have spared myself that whole speech. Okay, let's simplify the game. Oh, she doesn't even trade. Okay. It's interesting. I'm not sure it's good. I think my position is very solid here. It's interesting. I'm not sure it's good. Doesn't even trade. Okay. It's interesting. I'm not sure it's good. I think my position is very solid here. And the knight on d6 in itself is not gonna do any damage. I have to play faster. Okay, knight c. Let's bring the knight to b5. Knight c4 comes, logical. And c5. Okay, she trades now. fe3. Yeah, fe3 is probably good. She's playing this well. She's playing this really well. b6. Okay, time is becoming a serious issue here as well. c5. Let's try and bring the knight around. Okay, let's instead go for f6. b4 I'll take. This looks reasonable, bringing the knight to d4, but obviously time is more than a serious issue at this point. Okay. I'll have to hustle her. Not taking a draw, even though I'm low on time with no advantage. Okay, knight to b4. Let's go. Take the rook. She's collapsing. I'm collapsing a bit as well. Okay, let's go. Yeah, there we have checkmate. Okay. Oh well.
I don't want to play Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm gonna be past. Okay, I didn't have already any torches. Since I've been home, I have been gone. I've been gone for way too long. Maybe I forgot all the things I missed. Oh, somehow I know there's more to life than this. So I think I'll keep a walking with my head held high, keep moving on, and only God knows why, only God knows. What? Let me try. It looks real, but it looks fake. Keep moving on, and only God knows why. Only God knows. Only God knows why. Only God knows why. Only God knows why. Oh my God knows why.
If I told you that making one simple change to the way you play chess would instantly help you beat most of your opponents, you would probably think that I am lying. Yet, most of my coaching students are now using the strategy that I'm going to teach you, and they are seeing massive results in this game. So I'm going to teach you a whole different way to think about chess, and we will just be focusing on one thing, something that most people never think about. Pawns. We will be focusing on pawns. And I am going to teach you a bunch of very interesting pawn strategies you can use. And all I want you to do is very interesting pawn strategies you can use. And all I want you to do is to pay attention, to watch this entire video, and then try to use what I am about to teach you in the next game that you play, and then let me know how that went. So, first of all, the first rule that we want to follow is that we want to minimize the amount of
Fucking right, get over there.
In particular, we want to only think about moving the C pawn, the D pawn, and the E pawn. Those are the only pawns that we will be moving, unless if we really are forced to move one of the others, but in general, these are the pawns that we will be moving. By minimizing the amount of pawn moves we make, only these three, we will be keeping a more beautiful, a stronger, a more flexible pawn structure, which we are going to talk about once we are in the middle game. So right now,
I
I'm
just
not
realized
even
I was
following
telling
any
you guys I
opening
was going to listen to
strategies.
Star Wars.
I just want to castle as quickly as I can. Okay? My opponent takes the pawn that I put in the center. That's not a problem because I have already been preparing for this because I always protect my central pawn with a second pawn in case they capture. To castle as quickly as I can. Okay? My opponent takes the pawn that I put in the center. That's not a pawn structure, which we are going to talk about. The D pawn and the E pawn. Use what I am about to teach you in the next game that you play, and let me know how that goes. So, first of all, the first rule that we want to follow is that we want to minimize the amount of pawn moves we make. In particular, we want to only think about moving the C pawn, the D pawn, and the E pawn. Those are the only pawns that we will be moving, unless if we really are forced to move one of the others, but in general, these are the pawns that we will be moving. By minimizing the amount of pawn moves we make to only these three, we will be keeping a more beautiful, a stronger, a more flexible pawn structure, which we are going to talk about once we are in the middle game. So right now, I'm not even following any opening strategies. I just want to castle as quickly as I can. Okay? My opponent takes the pawn that I put in the center. That's not a problem because I have already been preparing for this because I always protect my central pawn with a second pawn in case they capture. And now we can just castle. So everything is going great. Alright. My opponent here plays bishop to f5, and it's pretty obvious what they are trying to do, at least to me. They are trying to attack this multiple times, and then they are going to try to see if they can win that rook. So I think it's time to make our third pawn move. Pawn to c3, a very good pawn move in this position. This helps to strengthen our center, and it also, again, because our previous defensive pawn was removed, and it also helps to prevent the opponent from going here. So basically at this point, I am already done with my pawn moves. This is what I wanted to do for the pawn moves. I am done with the pawn moves. Now I will be going into part 2 of this strategy, which is that we want to optimize our pieces as much as possible. That's what we want to do. And we also want to see if there is a way that we could damage the opponent's pawn structure. We are going to talk about that in a moment. When I say optimize pieces, I literally just mean pick up pieces from the back rank and try to get them into the game. So for example here, knight to d2. And what we are going to try during this game is we are going to try to minimize the amount of pawn islands that we have. But you need to understand first what is a pawn island. A pawn island is a couple of pawns who are connected or can still be connected. So these three pawns form an island. These four pawns also form an island. So right now we have two pawn islands. My opponent also has two pawn islands. They are different pawn islands, as you can see. I won't go super in depth there, but we have different pawn islands. Basically, they have more pawns in the center and on the king side, and we have more pawns on the queen side, which we could possibly use to determine a middle game strategy. But first, I'll see what my opponent does next. What I'm always looking for is ways to increase the amount of pawn islands my opponent has. To basically try to split up their pawns. So what I'm going to play is knight to h4. They castle. Knight takes f5. Well, let's do the check again for the pawn islands. We have still two pawn islands. In general, oops, that's a blue one. If you don't touch your pawns, you will keep a small amount of pawn islands. My opponent has, this is one pawn island. Remember, they can be connected, possibly. So this is one pawn island. This one here, the orange one, is also a pawn island. And then they have this. This is another pawn island. The more pawn islands you have, the worse your late middle game and end game is going to go. Because more pawn islands means more weaknesses that you need to protect. Especially the orange one and also this one. These are the ones that are potential targets. So what to do? Well, we just stick to our plan. We will keep optimizing pieces. We don't need to do anything spectacular. We just want to keep getting our pieces into play. What we would also want to do is he would like to make moves that add attackers to these pawns, or moves that remove defenders from these pawns. Especially this one is my real target. This one not so much, because they can just play g6 and that's their problem. This one is a good target. How can I add attackers or remove defenders? Well, bishop to g5. This helps us because we are attacking the knight. And if the knight is gone, then this pawn will be. Okay, our opponent plays h6, and we have to be careful. Usually in this situation, you can just drop back the bishop, and that is fine. Here, that is not the case, because if we drop back the bishop, they build this pawn chain, and then we lose our bishop. So we are pretty much forced to either go back or trade. Well, I will definitely be trading, because my plan was just to remove a defender from this pawn. That is what I want to do. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at what we are going to do next. So it's still about optimizing pieces. I'm not really thinking
I need to get my, I need to get some wool.
how can I get more of my pieces to good square?
Where the fuck just shot that shit, dumb nigger, honky bitch? I'm gonna kill the motherfucker.
What we also have to think about at any point is which of my opponent's pawns
Stupid
are
nigger
weak.
cunt.
This one is weak, it's unprotected. This one not so much, it is protected by the queen now. This one is actually also weak. Whenever I realize that my opponent has multiple weak pawns, all I have to think about is there a square where if I put a piece there, I would be attacking multiple of these weaknesses at the same time? Yes, there is a square. And there is also a piece that can go there and that can do this exact maneuver. If we go here, then our queen is attacking both of these pawns at the same time. And basically my opponent is already crumbling here. They are already struggling because of the pawn islands that they created, or at least that we created for them. We will be winning. But we also have to watch out, of course. We always have to pay attention to what the opponent is
I'm gonna
doing.
fucking slit your goddamn fucking throat. Stupid nigger. Dumb monkey.
So they are attacking bishop. I have two options. I think I could move my king and protect the bishop, but I don't really like moving my king because I would also be removing a defender from this pawn. Or I could just move my bishop. Yes, this could lead to some trading. I don't know if I would take with the knight or the rook. I think both would be possible. But after those trades, we still have these pawns that are under attack.
I don't know what that fucker's rating is. Fuck. You can't. You know what, motherfucker? Fuker. Oh, you sack of shit. Hold on, guys.
pawn moves at this point. I'm thinking, how can I remove a defender from Alright, let's have a look at what we are going to do next. So it's still about optimizing pieces. I'm not really thinking about pawn moves at this point. I'm thinking, how can I get more of my pieces to good squares? For example, rook to e1. Okay. Pawn chain, and then we lose our bishop. So we are pretty much forced to either go back or trade. Well, I will definitely be trading, because my plan was just to remove a defender from this pawn. That is what I want to do. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at what we are going to do next. So it's still about optimizing pieces. I'm not really thinking about pawn moves at this point. I'm thinking, how can I get more of my pieces to good squares? For example, rook to e1 would be getting the rook to a good square. Alright. What we also have to think about at any point is which of my opponent's pawns are weak. This one is weak, it's unprotected. This one not so much, it is protected by the queen now. This one is actually also weak. Whenever I realize that my opponent has multiple weak pawns, all I am thinking about is there a square where if I put a piece there, I would be attacking multiple of these weaknesses at the same time? Yes, there is a square. And there is also a piece that can go there and that can do this exact maneuver. If we go here, then our queen is attacking both of these pawns at the same time. And basically my opponent is already crumbling here. They are already struggling because of the pawn islands that they created, or at least that we created for them. We will be winning. But we also have to watch out, of course. We always have to pay attention to what the opponent is doing. If I just think, ooh, yeah, that's a free pawn, well, yes, I would be losing my bishop as well, because we need to always first sit on our hands and look at what the opponent is doing. So they are attacking bishop. I have two options. I think I could move my king and protect the bishop, but I don't really like moving my king because I would also be removing a defender from this pawn. Or I could just move my bishop. Yes, this could lead to some trading. I don't know if I would take with the knight or the rook. I think both could be possible. But after those trades, we still have these pawns that are under attack. So let me play this. And this also helps to attack that f5 pawn. Okay, so they take this. Alright. Here we have a choice. We can take with the rook, or we can take with the knight. How do we know which move is the right move? Well, the material is currently still equal. The only advantage equal as soon as I recapture it. The only advantage I have is that we have the better pawn structure. As you can see, I still have barely touched any of my pawns. If you have the better pawn structure, the general rule is that you want to keep at least one rook on the board. Because rooks are the best pieces to attack weak pawns. So I'm trying to get at least one rook on the board. Again, it looks like we have a free pawn here. But it's not as simple as that. It's not just a clean free pawn, I have to say. There is so much going on in this position. First of all, there is quite some pressure on my back rank. There is no checkmate yet, because this wouldn't work. I would be playing bishop to f1. But if I do take the pawn, I always have to watch out. Especially this b pawn is sometimes a little bit poisonous. They could attack with the rook and win back a pawn. It also looks like we are winning a knight here, but we would be running into a devastating tactic. Black has the move
check on
check
h2
with the bishop, and then we drop our queen. So be careful. If they offer you a free b pawn, it's not always free. It's not always free. I'm really looking to see if I can win this easily. That's the one. How can I add attackers? Maybe we can move the knight. The knight can actually go to the e3 square. Yeah, and then we can just add attackers to this pawn. By the way, my opponent gave me the pawn away for free again here, but I hope you noticed, I was a bit quick there, but I hope you noticed that they basically set up the same trap again. It's just from a different side. They are trying to do the same trap. They want me to take that with the queen, and they're actually doing the exact same trap right here as well. They want me to take, and then they want me to lose my queen. That's what they are trying to do. But since we are doing better in the pawn islands, we are putting tremendous pressure on their position. Just look at this. This pawn is attacked twice. The only reason they are holding on is because of this knight and this queen that could possibly win our queen. This pawn is also attacked twice. The only reason that they are holding on is because of this queen and this knight combination. But you can see how badly my opponent is struggling here to hold on to all of their pawns because we are putting so much pressure. And usually one of two things is going to happen. We will either just straight up win a pawn, or our opponent is going to try to hold on so badly to those pawns that they might end up badly coordinating their pieces and maybe allowing us to do a tactic. So there are a couple of things that I'm looking at. I am considering the move g3, which, yeah, it's strange, that's a pawn move, but it would also stop this tactic, which would basically mean that this d5 pawn would be weak. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm also looking into the move bishop to b5. This is a nice skewer tactic. We would be attacking the queen and the rook. They probably have to block with the knight, and then I think this is still a free pawn that we can just take just like that. So both of these are possible. If I can solve something without moving a pawn, that will always be my priority. So that's why I didn't move the pawn to g3. And just like this, it's
Andre
now
Philidor
21,
would probably
and
disagree.
my prediction came true. We gave them pawn islands, and now we already won a pawn. That is our strategy. Okay. Is one pawn enough to win the game? Not always, not always. With very good defensive skills, the opponent might still be able to keep a draw, but at least we are already up a pawn. What I'm going to try to do now is just see if I could maybe win a second pawn. I was looking to see if I could maybe switch my attack to this pawn. However, they push, so we have to move our knight again. Where are we going to go with this knight? This would be a nice square, but the queen is blocking that. I think e4 is also a nice square. We are attacking the bishop, and that's also just in general a interesting square to look at. Since we are already up one pawn, I am okay with starting to trade a little bit. Especially if it's getting a bishop for a knight, that is definitely a trade that I'm willing to go for, because this is going to help us to improve our position. So we have a very solid position. We basically just have an extra pawn. Now I will talk about the next step of this plan, which is a pawn majority. Alright, what am I talking about? We have 4 pawns on this side of the board. My opponent only has 2 pawns on this side of the board. So we have a 4 versus 2 situation. We will be able to push these pawns, and we should be able to create 1, maybe even 2 passed pawns, pawns that can promote. So it's very obvious to me that we should be playing on this side of the board right here. We should be playing on the queen side with the pawns. My opponent has a pawn majority as well. They have a pawn majority on the king side. They have a 4 versus 3. However, a pawn majority on the king side is way more difficult to use, because using this will also expose their king. Since the queens are still on the board, that would be bad for them. If I start trading a lot of pieces, imagine if we like trade the rooks and the queens, this would be a little bit better for them, because they would be able to use
I pushed
their
that A pawn all the way up
well,
after
really
I exchanged the bishop for the knight.
So all of this to say that I think it's starting to become time to think about pawn pushes for the first time. Pushing these pawns great. There are many moves we could make. I'm actually thinking a little bit what the best move would be. I'm thinking maybe queen d1 or rook d1 would be good. We need to support the central pawn if we want to start moving those pawns. Oh, my opponent plays this. Well, we definitely have to react to this, right? If we don't do anything, they take, and if we take, well, looks like we have a massive fall straight towards our king. So I think that we are forced to move this pawn up the board. Sadly, usually not something I like to do, but we have to do it here. We also have to watch out, because they have pressure with the pawn here. If I allow them to somehow maneuver their queen all the way over here, that would be a checkmate. So we always need to keep an eye open that we would like to have something like this move, bishop to f1 available, which we currently have available. Alright, let me move away my queen. I am trying to move some pieces away from my pawns, because if your pieces are in front of your pawns, which all of my pieces were in front of my pawns, it's very difficult to start pushing pawns. So I'm moving my pieces away. What am I going to do now? Just pushing the pawns. That's our next strategy. We want to push the pawns, and we want to see if we can create this. Oh, yeah, they fall for this trap. I didn't think they would fall for this trap. They are basically losing anyways. If they take this, I would actually, well, we have so many recaptures, but I would take this with the pawn. And look at what we just created. Connected past pawns. We have 2 pawns that we can push to promotion. This is what I wanted to create. And this would be unstoppable for them. We would just be running these pawns up the board, we would be winning. Yes, I gave myself more pawn islands, but it doesn't matter anymore, because we have connected past pawns. That was the next part of the strategy. But they fell for the trap. They take this pawn, which looks free, but it's actually not free, because now the knight is pinned to the queen that we can push to promotion. This is what I wanted to create. And this would be unstoppable for them. We would just be running these pawns up the board, we would be winning. Yes, I gave my so I'm moving my pieces away. What am I going to do now? Just pushing the pawns. That's our next strategy. We want to push the pawns, and we want to see if we can create a pass pawn. Oh, yeah, they fall for this trap. I didn't think they would fall for this trap, but they are basically losing anyways. If they take this, I would actually, well, we have so many recaptures, but I would take this with a pawn, and look at what we just created. Connected past pawns. We have two pawns that we can push to promotion. This is what I wanted to create. And this would be unstoppable for them. We would just be running these pawns up the board, we would be winning. Yes, I gave myself more pawn islands, but it doesn't matter anymore, because we have connected past pawns. That was the next part of the strategy. But they fell for the trap. They take this pawn, which looks free, but it's actually not free, because now the knight is pinned to the queen, and I can play queen d3, putting double pressure on the knight, and we can literally just get a free knight as well. And we get a merchant to it. So yeah, I didn't think they were going to fall for this. I thought I was going to have to really push for this endgame, but it's a little bit easier than I expected it to be. Okay, what am I thinking about here? Well, it's still the same story. We just want to get connected past pawn. So I'm looking, is there a way I can create a past pawn out of this? We still have a 2 versus 1 situation. So yes, we should be able to create a past pawn. Would be nice if we could take that with the bishop. That's not available. So I think we are just going to have to attack this pawn. I'm going to attack it from the side, because then their rook cannot protect it. They can pick up this pawn, I will pick up that pawn. It doesn't really matter. We achieved exactly what we wanted, which is that we have a past pawn. So that is great. I'm going to slide over my rook, pick up this one, which will free up my king a little bit, and this also helps. Whenever you have a past pawn, you can follow a simple rule. It's called PPP, push past pawn. Pushing your past pawn is almost always the single best move in civilization. So if we can push the past pawn, we will push the past pawn. Okay, now we cannot push it because we would lose it, so we are going to put the rook behind the past pawn. And that's also a general strategy. You always want to have your rook behind the past pawn. It's too bad that this is not dark squared bishop, because we would simply be able to attack their rook. Okay. Alright. They are blockading our pawn. Whenever they blockade our pawn, we have two... we actually have one single plan that we would like to go for, which is that we would like to attack that rook. I could run out my king all the way over here, or what I could also do, since this pawn is actually protected, is I could use my rook. However, in general, this is usually not what I do, because you like to keep the rook behind the pawn, but hey, this also works. We can push
Pawn
the pawn,
up
so
and
we should
bishop
push
over
the
there.
pawn. That rule is always true.
Bishop
I would
g2.
like to push the pawn, but I can't, so let me play my bishop over here, so that I can protect that square, so that I can push my pawn. Everything is going great. Alright. And now we can simply play rook to a8, again challenging their rook, and they are basically lost. This is actually a smart defense by them. We take, they take, we cannot promote, but we still have the passed pawn. And basically their king is going to be stuck defending, and I think now it's finally time that we start using our king as well. And this is a very simple winning endgame. I'll just demonstrate this for the sake of demonstration. But basically we can just move the king, their king is stuck, staying here forever, which means that we will be able to pick up some of these pawns for free. And then after we pick up these pawns for free, that's actually a queen. After we pick up these pawns for free, I would be able to just push them and promote over here. So I won't finish this game since, yeah, this is a very simple checkmate. But please try out this strategy and then let me know how it went. It's actually also weak.
Oh, I gotta try this
So
out.
I think it's time to make our third pawn. C3. Very good.
Oh no, we're gonna try this out. You're all my Okay, we gotta try this out. Okay. Hold on. This dude is totally helping me develop my pieces. Holy shit. Might as well take the fucking thing, dude. So I'm not gonna be able to take the queen just yet. Unless you take... you take... I take... Yeah, move the queen. I think bishop might be good over there. Hold on guys, I gotta play for a little bit. Boom. Oh, you motherfucker. Not playing that bullshit. Not doing it, bitch. God damn you. This guy's gonna be a cakewalk. Motherfucker is cheating, I guarantee it. Um... Oh, fuck yeah. Brought his king out. Oh, that was cool. I never do that because they, I never give them rematches because they cheat like a motherfucker. Oh, I lost this one. I want a rematch so I can beat you and cheat this time. If they haven't even cheated in the first time. Fuck that. E5 would have been checkmate too. Hold on, what else would have been checkmate? Oh, check. Yeah, that was fun. You motherfucker. Fuck. I kinda wanna keep playing Minecraft, but I kinda wanna... Motherfucker. Cannot do that. Will not do that. Oh, you dumb fuck. Oh well. Take the motherfucker, you dumb fuck. Stupid niggers wanna cheat, faggots. My slit chest.com cunts throats, so swear to God. I'm gonna slit their fucking throats in their offices. Fucking niggers allow the shit. Cheating nigger. Stupid nigger, get out of here. I'm gonna kill these cocksuckers. You know, but I do want a pawn there, so. Keeps the knight out of the center. Fuck, you guys, I'm gonna... Oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh my god, you're stupid. Probably gonna play this later, because I'm in the mood to play chess now. I'll catch you guys later, so sorry for the wait. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Probably play some Ghost Recon Wildlands in a little bit. Peace. Thank you for watching. See ya.